What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video, a special one, man. Back with the watch reviews. Some of you guys enjoy it, and that's fire, man. I think everything goes hand in hand. Loaner Watch of the Month from Crown and Caliber. You guys know they're always holding me down. Always, man. So you've seen it in previous videos. Just kind of wanted to show you guys the packaging and what it came in. They completely changed this. I really like the new packaging for sure. Obviously, we got that nice watch, and let's just get right into it, man. Now, watches that don't come with OG box papers usually typically come in these cases. Boom. There it is. What a beauty, right? I'll tell you guys a little bit of my first impressions of this watch when I first got it, and just kind of how it's been so far wearing it on the daily. I've actually worn it a lot, surprisingly. Now, when I first got this in, first and foremost, let's get into the details of it. This is a Patek, Philippe, however you'd like to pronounce it. This is actually a 3800 AJ, so it is a mid-size, essentially unisex watch is what they would call it. That meaning men, women, you're good to go to wear it. Typically there's men and there's women watches, but this is a unisex. This was made back in, I believe, the early 90s. Originally made in, I think, the 80s is when they started with the mid-size watches. This is phenomenal. Now, when I first got it in hand, I think I'm gonna change up the camera angle so you guys can explain a little bit better. So like I was saying, when I first got this in hand, I was like, oh my gosh, first off, right? Damn, this is so fire. Just because it's a Patek, you know what I'm saying? Like, we hear about this from all the rappers, all the large celebrities. Like, this is the coolest thing you'll ever get, man. Patek, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm big ballin'. I ain't gonna hold y'all. That's literally, I'm like, man, so this is it. This is a $30,000, $40,000 watch. And my first question is always why? But after wearing it for as long as I have been, I understand. Like, this is a phenomenally made watch. Now, you guys know I can really only compare to what I have with Rolex. And as I get more watches and learn more, I can speak on it, but the quality is there, man. This is a beautiful watch. You guys can see it is a two-tone. You have your yellow gold and then stainless steel, sapphire. And for me, I have smaller wrist. So that has always been the hardest thing. And when I first got this, I was kind of like, it's not very big. Like, why is this so expensive? And obviously it goes into the craftsmanship of the watch, all the details. So yeah, it makes sense now. But when I first got it, I'm like, man, this is really small. Not understanding that this was actually a mid-size watch and it fits perfect. Like, this looks flawless on my wrist. And one thing I like about this is a perfect daily wear watch if you want it to be. I just love the way it looks with my skin tone. It really pops in it. I'm not typically a big fan of any type of yellow gold, but this thing honestly just, man, like, come on. Sheesh. Like, such a beautiful timepiece. And just to complement it even more, you have that blue dial, which just honestly goes crazy. I think if anything, this watch has made me realize I really just love the sleek look. I love something that really hugs my wrist and it's kind of extremely subtle. Like, obviously this thing really pops. You notice it on the wrist from any angle. I think this is the one watch that I've had where anytime I'm shooting videos or pictures, I see it. And it's just like, man, it's really beautiful. I don't think it has anything to do with it being as much as it costs. It is just truly a very beautiful watch. And I don't care what brand it comes from. If anyone can make something as beautiful and as sleek as this, I'm all over it. It is a 37mm case size, 8mm case thickness, and just, man, if you guys have any recommendations for watches that are similar to this, please let me know down below in the comments. But so far, this is probably my most favorite watch that I've ever had in my possession. In my opinion now, between having the Audemars and the Patek, I definitely would choose Patek over and over, even with the Rolex. I love my Rolex too. I have the polar dial for those of you guys that don't know. And that's a great watch, but let me actually grab it real quick so I can show you guys the differences. First ever Rolex. Love this thing to death, man. I almost want to keep it as pristine as possible. And I thought this was sleek. Like, I love the subtleness of the polar dial. This is Explorer, but it's just not nearly. So you guys can see in comparison to how sleek this is. And again, I have very small wrists, which that's just the way it is. I'm almost like, I'm not even a fan of this anymore when it comes into comparison of how sleek. Almost dropped this bad boy. You saw that, how sleek this is. Like, man, that just sits on my wrist so nicely. And definitely a lot of personal preference, but that's all watches are. Like, it just comes down to what you like. And I love the sleekness of that. Like, it doesn't even compare. Like, most people wouldn't even know you had a watch on. It's beautiful. It really is. But there you guys have it, man. That is the Patek 3800 AJ. It's kind of one of the weirdest things about this watch is I like to know, you know, where it was made, when it was made, but for some reason this 3800 AJ is just almost like a rarity of its kind. I cannot find information on it. So if you guys know anything more that you could let me know, I'd love to hear it. But this is your boy Sneaker Life. I'll catch you guys in the next review. Run it.
House pin game, something mad, yes, bros. No sleeping, been a task rabbit, been a lab addict. The chief of the tribe I put on for my village. Used to be local, I'm taking it global. Sharp with the focus, she catching emotion. Treat that holistic, I give it a physics. Fuck your opinion, just did a show, only spit raw material. I'm independent, bitch, I'm in the building. Look what we building.